A terrible weapon will go on combat duty in December. For what purpose? I want them to understand that we can strike if things go badly. So we'll sit down with Putin, make a decision, and strike. So don't provoke us. I can see that the situation is being escalated. They want to put pressure on us together with the Russians. They want to crush us. Putin, Lukashenko, they're aggressors and so on. To crush us. This must not be done. They won't be able to handle us. Do they really want the middle of the last century to repeat itself? They won't be able to defeat us. We will defend our land with the Russians to the last person. Well, we're not getting involved there. What? Are we going to block the Suwalki corridor to Kaliningrad? The Russians are transporting goods there from their own land. Not nuclear weapons, not weapons at all, just goods. They're checked by border guards, Lithuanian ones, over there. They are checked. What are you doing? This is an empire, a nuclear country. What are you provoking for what? Why are you preventing Russians from normally communicating with their own territory? You closed off our ability to load cargo at ports in Lithuania, Latvia, Poland. Those are your ports. You closed them, we're not interfering there. We found a port in the Leningrad region. We'll close the Baltic Sea. So here we are, as I already mentioned, sitting with Putin discussing this issue. I say, well, you see what it's come to. They've gotten brazen. So what's the solution? Well, we'll provide escort. We'll escort our merchant ships with military vessels. Is that what you want? They're provoking us. Who's pushing them to do this? We can only guess that the goal is to provoke a clash here in Europe, to ignite some kind of fire again. That's why I am retreating very carefully, but only up to a certain point. Yes, we will investigate. Yes, it's bad that they're tossing things over with those little balls. It would be better if they transported them by train cars, because those little balls are a threat to airports, to civilian ones. Yes, we will look into it, and we will get to the bottom of it. All right, we'll even deal with these people harshly if we have to, but it won't change anything. You should figure out over there why this is happening. And to dig deeper, it's the authorities, the Lithuanian and Polish authorities, you're the ones to blame for this happening. Why did you put people in such conditions? 6% of GDP is billions of dollars. But if you buy a gun, you don't just buy it to hang it on the wall. Although once a year, even a gun hanging on the wall goes off. Surely they're buying up weapons all over the world for a reason. And then they shout, why did Lukashenko bring in nuclear weapons? Why Lukashenko? A nutcracker. What else am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to just sit and wait like in 1941 for them to come here, rape our women and kill our children? I don't want that. That's why I say, guys, nuclear weapons are a terrible thing. Just so you know, we've already traded away our nuclear weapons once again. We took it to Russia and brought in the latest models. They put it in order. It's expensive to maintain. The Russians are helping. We brought it back in. We're training on how to use it. Both aircraft and missile weapons. We're not hiding that either. A terrible weapon will go on combat duty in December. For what purpose? I want them to understand that we can strike if things go badly. So we'll sit down with Putin, make a decision, and strike. So don't provoke us. Protasevich, an employee of our intelligence service. We needed to detain him. But here's the question. Why were they flying to Vilnius, didn't land there, and instead turned around to Minsk? They flew over, landed after a call saying there was some kind of explosive on board. Well, land then. You were flying to Vilnius. Remember, you were over Vilnius, so land there. But they turned around, flew to Minsk, and landed in Minsk. I said, well, go ahead and carry out the operation. After all, he was working undercover with those fugitives, so carry out the operation properly, as you should. So we had to conduct an operation to detain him. Although we didn't actually need to detain him. He went to Greece, he was summoned there, and he reported everything we were interested in to the intelligence officers. He received his assignment and flew back to where he was working, passing through Vilnius. We were accused of detaining an opposition figure, but he wasn't our opposition figure. We didn't detain an opposition figure. This is just to get you killed if you're not aware of what's really going on. So they imposed sanctions. It's exactly the same here. We're supposed to apologize to the Lithuanians. For what? You can't manipulate us.